In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the wrestling booking unit, the only wrestling podcast on a planet that Warhorse cut that specific promo for. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I'm joined, as always, by my partners in crime fighting. Starting off, District Attorney Vincent K. What's going on, man? How are you?
This evening's podcast is the only one where you did the arm thing for Warhorse so far.
So far, it was a last-minute choice. I don't know if it worked. Also joining us
caught it.
From up north, RCMP JLB. What's going on, man?
Whoop, whoop. It goes on. It goes on. I'm pretty sure you've used that before, but after 3-4 years of podcasting, you can only think of so much. So kudos to you. I think that might be the second time only that you've used it.
Yeah,
but
I want to hear your shit, man.
Yeah.
Don't question me.
Welcome to us talking about this week in professional wrestling. A lot to talk about this week. We'll go through some of the events of the shows, but there's some other major events that we'll want to talk about specifically. Some good things, and actually, for the first time in a long time on Raw and Order, the wrestling booking unit, an actual crime to talk about.
Oh.
Actual crime. Also,
money laundering, kinda.
I mean, in a way, isn't all professional wrestling kind of money laundering, right?
That's fair.
That's fair. Also, for the first time in a while, I am bringing back the card packs because I ran across these at my local Walmart. Actually, I think it was Target. Doesn't matter. And it's the first time I've seen the select 2023s.
Nice.
So. 23s? Mm-hmm. I still got some 21s sitting on my desk I haven't opened.
So I will be opening some packs of select 2023s. I know we've decided that Chronicles is our favorite of the WWE card packages.
No, the very favorite is fully loaded, but they're expensive.
They're stupid expensive.
For what?
Yeah. But these, I remember, I think we liked the selects. We liked the selects more than we liked the prisms.
The selects, I believe, are the only ones I have in. Revolutions were also really good.
Mm-hmm. And the NXT ones blew.
Sucked.
They were bad.
The all women's ones blow, and whatever these are. What are these? Tops. Those ones.
Oh, yeah.
Those suck. The individual events.
Yep. Also, I was able to pick me up one of these.
Bay.
Nice.
Mr. Adam Cole Bay. This also, importantly, is the red, which is, let me see if I can figure out where it is. There it is, up there. The only at Target edition of it. The other ones, I believe, are the white outfit. So I'll be letting him breathe at some point tonight. Probably when my ADHD kicks in and I'm like, I gotta do something else. So let's start with the big news that I kind of talked about earlier. There was an actual crime in the pro wrestling world this week. And actually the crime happened like 3 or 4 weeks ago. But we just found out about it this week. And that is the one member of FTR that I didn't think was going to be waving a loaded gun at somebody was waving a loaded gun at somebody. Cash Wheeler arrested and charged with third-degree assault with a deadly weapon, felony assault in Florida. Yep, $2,500 bond for waving a gun at somebody during a road rage incident. We found a little bit more information. It's still not super clear, but apparently, like, guy cut him off. He got angry at him. He swung around them to the front and cut that guy off, or something like that. And then that guy pulled up next to him to yell at him, and Cash pulled up a gun. The guy was like, "Oh shit!" and then pulled back and
to slow down and
called the cops. Took pictures of the license plate and all that. Now, the reason it's important to talk about is because as of right now, it does not look like it has, but there is a chance that will impact one of the matches on All In next Sunday, right?
It is capable of.
It is capable of. And what it really comes down to is in the American court, when he issued his not guilty plea, he requested, like we said, $2,500 bond, which was granted. And they ordered him to surrender all weapons and all sorts of stuff. But one of the things they didn't have him do was surrender his passport. There are no travel restrictions on him. So he, as far as the American government is concerned, is okay to travel to All In Wembley. But that's not the British government. The British government, when he checks in at Customs and Immigration at the airport, and they look at his passport and they go to stamp it, that he, they might say, "You've been charged with a felony in your home country. We're not letting you in." And the thing is, they won't actually know until he goes and does that, whether that's going to happen, right? It either will happen or it won't. So we probably won't find out until Friday or Saturday, if that happened. And so it might be a very last-minute change of plans for All In if they decide not to let him in. Now, there are 9 million reasons, each of them $1, that Tony Khan can argue to try to get him in. There are 80,000, seats sold that Tony Khan can say, I just sold 80,000 tickets to the biggest pro wrestling event in history. Yep. For the UK. And I want this guy here. And the British government might be like, okay, we'll let him in, maybe there will be some concessions or whatever, who knows. But we won't know for certain until next week, probably. Now, advantages are Tony Khan does have ties to England, owning a soccer team over there, or as they call it, football. And all that stuff and everything. So it might work out just fine, but we won't know. So be prepared for maybe changes to All In from that respect. Otherwise, we've got 8 matches on the main card and 1 match for the kickoff show. I'm kind of expecting 1 more match to be announced.
Wasn't there, though? Because I think 8 matches was before the matches they announced it on Collision. No?
At the lineup as it stands right now. The only full match they announced on Collision that wasn't previously announced was CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. And that puts it at 9 total matches, 8 on the main card. Are you sure
it's not the Golden Vampire versus Samoa Joe?
But the Golden
Vampire that just beat him up.
So there's a chance. There's 1 more match that I expect to be announced. I wouldn't be surprised if it's announced this week on Dynamite. And that is, and I don't have like any insider information on this. I think it's important to point out it's not like I'm breaking any news or anything like that. I just expect from history. The original All In started off with an over the budget Casino Royale Battle Royale, right? And they haven't announced one of those for this yet. And I fully expect, as a way to bring more talent onto this card, some sort of battle royal, an over the budget battle royal for this to be announced. That's a way for them to work in some additional like British wrestlers in the battle royal. Fills out the card. It's got a lot of play that they can make it shorter or faster if they need to, or take up a lot of time if they want to. And like I say, there's history behind it because they had one at the original All In. So I kind of expect that. Like I said, I'm not breaking any ground by saying that's going to happen because I don't I don't have any background knowledge. I just anticipate, because so much of this card seems to be based off of looking at the original All In. What can we do that honors the original All In certain ways? And the over the budget battle royal was on the pre-show for the original All In, so it could be another match on the pre-show. Right now they've only got the one.
Why do you just say the one? Why don't you actually talk about who's in it?
Well, I was going to get to it when we did our whole AEW thing.
I was just picking on you because I don't think that you really want to talk about the pre-show.
Well, it's MJF and Adam Cole, Bebe versus Aussie Open.
Oh, I thought this was the one with Jeff Jarrett. I thought Jeff Jarrett was on the pre-show.
No, as of right now, they have not officially announced a match for Jeff Jarrett. The rumored match, which may be announced this week, was Jeff Jarrett versus Grado.
Oh, that was a rumor.
That was rumored. It hasn't been officially announced.
God, it's been talked about so much that you think it's announced.
Well, why else would he take a guitar? Why else would Grado take a guitar to the face if they're not going to announce it, you know? Promo for what? Exactly. And he's a British wrestler too, en plus. So just makes sense. I imagine it will be announced this week.
And then just a piece of advice. If you can hear anything coming in the background, I don't know if you can. My wife is having a battle with my 5-year-old right now.
I did hear go to bed. Yeah.
Yep, go to bed.
Go to bed.
Go to bed.
I told you go to bed. Okay. So my 5-year-old is here.
And who's that other person on the other side of him?
Yeah, so that's JLB and it's DA Fade. Now go to bed. I hear mommy talking to you. Go to bed.
What is his background?
Okay. I gotta go for just 1 second.
Okay, you can go.
Hold the fort down.
We got this.
There are forts.
I'm holding. Yeah. I'm holding them up.
I'm holding it up. All
That's right.
No,
Raising that roof. No, I mean, I think Smarks does have a point. They're going to try to do certain things. Okay, so in terms of All In, we have heard of a surprise, potentially a huge, crazy rumor, because it was Edge's last match on SmackDown. And rumors of
people still perpetuating this. It's not happening, man.
I don't think it's happening. I would love for it to actually happen, just for him to be with Christian, but I think Edge is kind of a WWE lifer.
His contract runs till the end of September, but
so he says.
Okay.
Yeah.
But his matches ran through this month.
Yeah. So that's the other piece of the thing. Is the big news. Edge's last match under his current WWE contract,
which is only done in September, apparently.
Yeah, which is only done in September.
he has fulfilled his match requirement because he had a total number of matches he had to do. And his movie requirement because I think it was Edge in the movies. It was not Adam Copeland. It was Adam Edge Copeland in the television series.
I believe. Let me look it up to be certain, but
are WWE Studios still making movies though? I feel like I haven't heard of
Like
Percy
the
Jackson
74
and
comes
the
out.
Olympians list him as Adam Copeland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a Disney thing though. That's no way going to be with WWE doing anything with that. Disney's taking full control over that.
Yeah, it's a Disney Plus thing.
You're a Disney Plus thing.
But again, now here's the deal. I want to be clear on. I play devil's advocate on lots of things here. I'm 90% certain that he's treating this as retirement, but I want to point out that Jon Moxley, when he was Dean Ambrose, gave an interview the week before his contract was up, where he said, "I'm not doing anything. I'm going to go shoot a movie in Las Vegas. I'm done with wrestling, all that stuff." And then he shows up at AEW a week later, right? If Adam Copeland, if Edge was planning to go to AEW, he would 100% say that he still had more time on his contract, and therefore we wouldn't have any reason to expect him at All In. And then him showing up at All In would be a huge surprise moment, much like Moxley showing up at the original
Or
Double or Nothing.
Adam Copeland showing up at Royal Rumble a while back.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows what pop he gets.
Yeah. He knows what surprise pop gets, right?
Yes.
He also, importantly, has yet to, in any interview, in any time he's been talking about it, say he's done, say he's retiring.
He's just not sure.
Say anything. He
He's
always
just not
says
sure.
he's just not. But my point is, choice of words are important, right? They twisted Tom Brady's arm for weeks before he finally said, "Yes, that's it. I'm retiring after this Super Bowl," and then he retired. And a month later said, "No, I'm not retired. I didn't want to. I was talked into it, and I don't want to do that." Right? When an athlete wants to retire, there is a moment that his brain will click over and say, "I'm retiring." And when he doesn't want to retire, he will say things like, "I'm going to have to think about it. I'll have to evaluate how my body feels." Peyton Manning did that for 4 years. Right? At the end of each season, we're just going to have to figure out how my body feels. He did that from one team to another team,
Right.
And so the way he's speaking to me comes off as, I want to say goodbye to the WWE universe because they have been good for me. I want to be respectful to the WWE universe, but I also do not want to mislead them by specifically saying I am retiring. It seems very purposeful that he's not saying retiring, which means it could be a short-term thing while he's still negotiating a new contract with WWE. Because importantly, he said multiple times, "This is my last match on my current WWE contract."
Yeah, and he even mentioned it after the Sheamus match.
Go to bed.
Yeah, he even mentioned it after the last match, after the Sheamus match, where he basically said, "I'll have to talk it over with my family and see what's going on." So we shall see. I don't see Edge necessarily going anywhere because he's been with WWE for so long, but. And I would consider him to be a lifer, but I also considered.
What do you think?
Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, that's the deal. Nobody's a lifer for any company, right? Because they're all in it to make money. They're all in it to support their families. They're all in it to entertain. And Christian's the perfect example. He couldn't do it in WWE, so he went over to TNA. And then he tried to come back to WWE, and then he had to retire. And then he realized he could come back, and he showed up for WWE. But where did he end up going? AEW. And that's the other thing I want to point out with Adam Copeland Edge. His absolute best friend in all the world, the person that he spent his entire time training, bunking with, roommating with, the person that he spent his entire bulk of his early career tag teaming with, the person that he traveled up and down the roads with, that literally was his partner in life in lots of ways, the person who he hosted his top rated podcast with,
right?
His absolute best friend in the world is Christian, who is currently in AEW, right? And Christian, I guarantee you, has been saying to Adam, you know how great this schedule is at AEW. I'm not on the road nearly as much. I don't have to take as many bumps, but I'm on TV all the time.
That's it.
Right?
I'm TNT champion.
I'm currently TNT champion. Don't mention Luchasaurus. You know,
well,
there are all sorts of things that could.
The Hardys are here. We can do another run. Edge and Christian versus the Hardys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fucking go.
We could have a match against the Young Bucks, the new generation in wrestling, who are getting old. So they're. When did the Young Bucks become the middle-aged Bucks? I mean, at what point do they stop being young? Anyway.
No, that's fair.
I mean, does it go by rap rules where young MC is still young MC and he's 60, you know, or does it go by other rules?
I think it might go by rap rules. Yeah. I really do think so.
Out.
So
anyway,
they'll ever be the old Bucks.
So I'm 90% certain that he's at least taking a break now. That's where it is. But there's that 10% that just sees the way he specifically talked about it.
I just think he also just doesn't know either. I don't think he necessarily has a plan right now per se either. But I mean, what do we know at the same time? But I think he's still kind of conflicted because I think that is going to ruffle a lot of feathers with the WWE. Obviously, if Edge does go, not that it didn't with Christian or Dean Ambrose or Miro or Cesaro.
So here's a few things. I want to point out that Chris Jericho has specifically said that when he got the call for AEW and all that stuff, he called Vince,
told him to do it,
and Vince said, "You go do that." Right? Christian has mentioned that he had the opportunity to go back to WWE. He chose AEW, and Vince wished him the best. Vince does not see this as big of a betrayal.
Okay.
Partially because they're still the number ones. Vince doesn't see going to the number 2 as a big betrayal, right?
Right.
That's slumming it with the number 2s, right?
Right.
That's like you get an offer to play for the New York Mets, and you're like, no, I'd rather play for the Omaha Storm Chasers. The New York Mets aren't going to take that as like, oh, he's going to our competition. They're going to take that as, oh, he'd rather slum it in Omaha, you know? So,
fair.
But on top of that, like, if he went to Vince or even Triple H and said, listen, I don't think I can do the schedule that WWE wants me to do anymore. You know, they're doing 2 house shows a weekend at minimum, as well as 2 weekly shows, plus the pay-per-view. Plus now
even to be a producer, you know what I mean? To be a producer, that's still a lot of work, a lot of traveling too. So,
whereas with AEW, you're going to be assigned to either Rampage Dynamite or Collision / Ring of Honor. And so most weeks you're going to be 1 day on the road, 2 days total, right?
There are some performers who cross over.
There are some, but that's by choice. like, you know, we know House of Black specifically requested to be Collision exclusive, and yet they still showed up on Dynamite last week because the storyline asked them to.
Yeah, it worked.
But,
yeah, because Acclaimed is only on Dynamite technically, right?
Regularly, but then they showed up on Collision recently. So, you know, so that's the deal.
Too many damn shows.
I feel like Acclaimed is calling them out, and that's going to be a match. Acclaimed versus.
Yeah.
That's getting announced this week. So even if you do add the Battle Royal, I think there's 2 more matches.
The thing is whether it goes for Wembley or whether they use that to build a match for All Out. Because remember,
the problem is they have to build longer term storylines because they only got 2 weeks there.
Wow, they only have 1 week in between All In and All Out.
Oh, only 1 week. Okay.
So it's the very next weekend. So that's what I would expect is at least some matches on Dynamite to be announced also for All Out the following week. Which as of right now does have 2 matches announced. That's where Darby Allin is facing off with Luchasaurus. That's where Miro's facing off with Powerhouse Hobbs. But this would be a good week for them to announce another couple matches. So they could put Acclaimed versus House of Black on All Out.
I mean, but you know, Malachi is also European, so you kind of would have that linkage there.
Yeah.
Not that you don't have Ospreay already there, and
that's another piece to the Edge puzzle, though, isn't it? Because if Edge is free, he doesn't have to wrestle. He doesn't have to practice anything. He's got a week to get something put together for All Out.
I don't think he wrestles. No, because I think if he does anything, it's going to be with Christian, and Christian right now is kind of, you know, with this whole
remember those two have had a very small feud. They haven't really had a good feud. And most besties want a feud.
Yep. I mean, here's the deal is, like, let's just look at it from this standpoint. You could easily slot Edge in coming out and costing the Young Bucks the AEW World Championship in some way and siding with FTR. You could easily slot him coming in and interfering in some way in the 6-man tag match Golden Elite versus Bullet Club Gold, right?
Why? So, you know what I mean? Where's that history?
There's no history.
You could him interfering with Joe and CM Punk. He could spear Joe or CM Punk.
He's a new character when he shows up. I mean, yeah, he's got the history. He's Edge. He's Adam Copeland. But from a storyline standpoint, you don't need a back history.
Oh my God, it's Corner. Corner is all elite.
No. He's going to be the newly renamed Blade. And then
Razor.
The other guy with the butcher will find a new name. But yeah, no, CM Punk and Samoa Joe is a way he could interfere in some way. He could interfere in the MJF versus Adam Cole in lots of ways.
At this point, he can just be Copeland, too.
The most likely place, I'm going to be honest, though, most likely place is the Stadium Stampede match, which has Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, and the Best Friends, and the Lucha Bros versus Blackpool Combat Club, which is John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and quote 3 to be announced. But here's the deal with that. He doesn't even have to be one of those 3 to be announced. Because of the Stadium Stampede.
Because it's a no DQ match, he can just show up and spear somebody.
Yeah. And he could show up there easily to help John Moxley because they've got history in their time in WWE together. But he could also show up just as easily to spear John Moxley or Claudio. You know, I mean, they've both got history.
Wheeler, for that matter.
Or Wheeler, just to, you know, be another one of those fuck you Wheelers.
Well, I mean, if you think about Wheeler, he can come in and say, you need a good mentor, which does cause the feud with Mox. Or he can spear Wheeler and be like, you're getting too much of a push and you haven't earned it yet. And he can be, I mean, heel Edge is better than face Edge. Hot take, heel Edge better than face Edge. That's where I'm at.
But so
I don't know.
So that's my
Judgment
point.
Day Edge was kind of weird, though. It was kind of maybe
Well, Judgment
not
Day-
that heel Edge. 'cause,
Judgment Day Edge didn't work
Blonde.
because they didn't agree in advance on what the Judgment Day was.
Fair, yeah.
The WWE wanted Judgment Day to be supernatural. Edge wanted it to just be people who were tired of being pushed around. Obviously, neither side won because Judgment Day now is, I'm gonna say it, Dollar Store House of Black. That's not trying to rip Rhea Ripley or Dom or Finn Balor or Damian Priest, but their whole gimmick morphed into this basically House of Black gimmick.
Yeah, it's just a takeover faction. That's it.
Yeah.
But anyways. But those were the two like major big things this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of Edge's last match. And I put that in quotes because I feel like we're going to see Edge back by Mania if he stays at WWE for at least his last match at a big stage. He doesn't need to, but...
Can Bryan Danielson be back in time?
No.
No? Okay.
Bryan Danielson is looking at like 6 months with how bad his break was.
Oh, wow.
So he might be back in time for a full year, but that would be pushing it. It was kind of the same thing with Jamie Hayter's injury. It was just enough that it put her out too long. So I just opened my first 4-pack, and for some reason or other, the first card is blank. So
I can't.
Oh,
I
vacant.
can't see it.
Nice.
I don't
Or
know.
John Cena. Could be vacant or John Cena. I don't know.
And maybe we'll have to look. I'll look it up by number. And then we have Mark Coffey, Charlie Burnett, who
Well, so far, your featured people aren't great, or your non-featured people aren't great.
Yeah. Charlie Burnett, importantly, is misnamed because his real name should be Charlie Regal. Because that's William Regal's son. And then a Tiger Prison of Gunther. So, anyways, that's the news that took place here. If I were a betting man and like I was in Vegas and Vegas was like, oh, we'll give you odds on whether Adam Copeland shows up at All In, I wouldn't put money on it because I do not think it's a safe bet by any means.
No, it's just a crazy thing on the rumor wheel, and that's it.
But if he does show up, I will pop my tits off. And it'll be awesome. And then I will be on the podcast later saying, told ya. And
then I'll replay the clip of you saying, I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah. I'll edit that part out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just be really cool to see Edge and Christian do have a final run together as a tag team. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but it does make it at least very exciting. And if Edge is not the surprise for All In, we do got the rumor of it potentially being Pride and Powerful to be part of the Stampede match.
Yeah, reportedly Santana is cleared to return. And Ortiz was supposed to wrestle for, I think it was House of Glory, and got pulled out of it last minute. And reportedly it's because he has AEW commitments. And that's why he got pulled out. So, second pack. Who the fuck is this? He looks like a country music star.
Karrion Kross?
Hank Walker.
Oh, Jesus.
We do know who this guy is.
Viva la raza!
Latino. Zion Quinn.
He's a pretty good wrestler. He's enjoyable.
And a prismatic Omos.
Oh, God. Really?
Never know. It might be worth something someday. 7 to 8 cents.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, 2 cents is something.
We haven't seen him in a hot minute either, huh? That's freaking awesome.
He got eliminated at the SummerSlam, and that was the last I think we've seen of him.
Wow.
At the SummerSlam.
Whoa, in the background, it just sounded like at JLB's house. Mick Foley just walked into the room.
So on Raw, we had Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough, leading to more speculation by me that Damian Priest is actually going to end up being the one kicked out of Judgment Day, and JD McDonough is going to be brought in as Balor's enforcer sort of character. We had
friends, no? So they're going to face each other, I guess, make that a few.
Well, he trained JD.
He trained JD McDonough. That's why we call him Baby Balor. It's because he's just a young, non-thin Balor.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's never been like a prince or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
He could be a knight.
Squire.
Duke.
Make a kick-ass Duke. Chad Gable versus Giovanni Vinci, followed immediately by Gunther versus Otis. I'm enjoying this push they're giving Chad Gable, even though I know that they're just going to feed him to Gunther eventually.
Even honestly, though, I also like what they're doing with Giovanni as well, though. I think he I don't know. I feel like they're also giving him a push on top. He's doing a lot more talking. Well, he still did a lot of talking before, but I don't know. I feel like they're actually presenting him as a more of a singles competitor now rather than just with a group. So
I'm deeply enjoying the crush angle from Giovanni Vinci, or not Giovanni Vinci. Yeah, the one that has the crush on the girl from the other one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I gotta be honest. Maxine Dupree is cracking me up right now.
Yes.
And I did not think I would like that storyline once they got the Maximum Male models out of it. I was like, meh. But I do really enjoy this whole gimmick of learning to wrestle from Chad Gable. The thing is, I don't see them being able to squeeze this Chad Gable versus Gunther out longer than 3 weeks from now. And Gunther's got to hold on to the belt for at least 3 more weeks to become the #1 all-time single reign record.
The 3 weeks is after Payback?
3 weeks, we'll put it after Payback, yes.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, a week after.
Gable isn't going to win, though.
That's my point is, the only way Gable would win is if the match was going to happen after.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not a guarantee. I'm not saying he would. But the only way I could see it even having a chance of him winning would be if the match was going to take place after Gunther had set the record. But the match will happen beforehand, and therefore, Gunther's
and he'll be the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion.
Longest single reign.
Okay.
Intercontinental Champion. He still has a couple more people to get over for combined reigns. And so I don't know if they're going to go for that particular record with him. I can't say they won't, but
right.
But as of right now, you can just tell they're 100% set on him beating out Honky Tonk for longest single reign.
So. If they aren't, they've done a really weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think Well, I think at first they were just kind of waiting for Gunther to go to face off on the main title against the main title, the world title. But with the whole bloodline thing, that's a whole other issue. I guess you could go up against Seth, but
it all depends on who you believe. A lot of the people from the inside are saying that this is all exactly how they've planned it for Gunther. This has been the plan the whole time.
Okay.
And that it's to build him up, and the best way to build him up as a legitimate contender for the main title, in their minds, is to have him set the record for the Intercontinental title.
He set the record at Rumble. He set the record for Intercontinental. Mm-hmm. So next year is going to be, hopefully, Gunther's year. At some point.
But what about Cody Rhodes? He came back to finish the story.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
What'll happen is in 2 more years, when Cody Rhodes' contract with WWE is up, and he returns to AEW to finish the story there, and then it all turns out to be a work the whole time.
I'm telling you. I'm going to say it. I'll put that on repeat when I said it was a work. I'll be like, see, it's a work. AEW loves their long-term storylines.
Longest term storyline ever.
Yep.
We finally got Matt Riddle a new tag partner.
Weirdly, nonetheless.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm down with it, but I mean, it gives Drew McIntyre something to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, Drew McIntyre does not want to become a heel again because he enjoys like the Make-A-Wish, wish granting and all of that stuff, and he's worried if he becomes a heel that he won't be able to do a lot of that stuff anymore.
And that's probably true. Kids tend to bite on the storylines more than adults.
We finally got an official announced video package and everything for Indy Hartwell on the main roster. She was out injured for a bit, so but now she then made her debut to face Rhea Ripley. So great way to start things off, Indy.
Feed me more? No, this isn't Ryback.
I'm not saying I hated it.
Just not a way to say, hey, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Looks like you're going to be a big star after you lose your immediate match. What we need to do is we need to get a female version of Dolph Ziggler for all of these call-ups to go beat. And
they have one.
Really
it's
good.
Natty.
Where the fuck was she? Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus ended in a double count out because they couldn't keep it in the ring. So now it's going to be in a steel cage at Payback.
Is that legit? It's going to be in the steel cage?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they've 100% announced it or not, but that's what I've heard. So, Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor had another try to use the briefcase, and nope, it costs him the match. So there's going to be more tension between Judgment Day. Yay.
I really like this Cody Rhodes guy.
Cody Rhodes, yeah.
He's, whoa.
Maybe they'll make an entire documentary about Cody Rhodes and his return to WWE.
Sure would be entertaining.
Maybe during that, he'll say a bunch of nice things about his former company, and then immediately after that, his wife and his new boss will then denigrate that same company and undercut all of the things that he tried to say.
As long as he didn't say it, as long as Tony Khan knows that he didn't say it, Tony Khan might not hire his wife again, but he'll definitely rehire Cody Rhodes.
Hey, Tony Khan now knows that he doesn't have to rehire her because WWE obviously did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Tony, why don't you hire my wife again? What's that? Well, because WWE didn't, so fuck off.
Oh, and the biggest thing, the most important thing from the entire episode of Raw, this is bar none the absolute most important thing. Chelsea Green was searching for a new tag partner, and Piper Niven just said, "I'm your tag partner," and wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Most important
Rather
thing.
aggressively.
Yes. It's me. I'm your tag partner.
It's me.
Oh, but I have auditions. Nope, it's me.
I'm your partner. It's me.
Yeah. Good old Taylor Swift.
Pretty sure I have a 5-year-old about to break in my door.
Like blow it open, just like boom.
No huff. No puff. No
Booyaka.
I reckon I would like to see that. Just the door comes flying off, hits you. What is going on? Daddy, I'm awake. Yeah, I gathered that. Sorry for upsetting you.
Well, this pack started out strong, and then kind of took a dip at the end. Starts off with your United States champion, Austin Theory. No longer United States champion, but at the time he was. Follows it up with a chance to acknowledge the tribal chief. And then gives me not a foil version of the Omos. So that's a step down. And then the final one is a hollow of Dabakato.
Hello.
This is not looking like the best way to spend some money.
Oh my god, I totally forgot that Rey Mysterio won the United States Championship. I remember being disappointed when I saw it. I'm like, really, Rey?
So, I heard a rumor about it that might be true. It makes sense that it could be true. I'm not happy about it, but the rumor is that WWE has decided to, effectively to get rid of the North American Championship by merging it with the U.S. title. And that's why they put it on Rey, is so they could have a Rey versus Dom match, with the winner unifying the belts.
Dom better win that. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, everybody but the people who hate Dom will riot if it isn't that way.
Because Rey won their first match, right? Obviously.
Yes, but that was Con Dom.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, this pack started off with Thea Hale. Not complaining there. Followed it up with Tommaso Ciampa. So far, so good. Ashanti Adonis.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
And then a Tiger Hollow of Drew Gulak.
All right, not bad.
I dig that.
Yeah. So moving on, SmackDown. SmackDown started off with the Grayson Waller effect, Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. You know how I feel about talk shows. Meh. Of course, prior to SmackDown, we knew that Edge's last match was going to be there, so that was kind of the focus of the night.
Right.
LA Knight versus Austin Theory for a U.S. Championship opportunity.
Yeah.
Austin Theory won.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's fair.
Still doesn't mean that I don't enjoy saying yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of, you know that scene in Hot Fuzz where the guy who says yarp all the time attacks him, and then he answers the phone and he's got to try to figure out what the negative version of yarp is? What does LA Knight say when he wants to say no?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Actually, in
No.
reality, he goes, no.
Exactly.
No. That's right. He does have a version of that.
He does. He has it for both, so he's good.
Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair versus Damage Control. Are we seeing a heel turn from Bianca Belair?
I mean, you can't partner with Charlotte and not be in a heel turn, right?
That's kind of my thought. Like she didn't like specifically do heel stuff, but she's with Charlotte. Like that's
Like,
Wait, is Charlotte back to being heel again?
is Charlotte ever not heel?
even when Charlotte's a face, she's a heel. Street Profits versus the OC. Because you know what I was thinking on Friday? I would love to see the OC tonight.
You
I would
were?
love to see him just do a lot better in the main roster. They're so talented, being underutilized, and they have been their entire WWE career. So
I'm just kind of overall tired of them.
yeah.
Paul Heyman came out and gave an update on the Bloodline because we probably won't see. Yeah, we probably won't see Roman Reigns for another couple months.
And the Usos couldn't make it out to Canada, so
yeah. Well,
there either.
Jey Uso's quit the company. Remember?
Right.
Because he's out.
He's
out
all
Bloodline.
elite. He's gonna be all elite.
He's out.
He's
Of
gonna show up at All
SmackDown.
In.
He's out of WWE. Yeah, that's what I'm 100% certain is a work.
No, for sure. And I think they just did that because they were in Canada and they can't come in, right? They only were given special instructions.
Jimmy can't come in.
Just Jimmy? Okay.
Because you guys don't like people who get DUIs.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Don't do bad shit, and then you'll be able to come in. Be a model citizen.
Fuck off. I made mistakes in my youth, okay?
That's fair. Now you pay for those mistakes by staying in America.
Is that
In
really
my
pain?
youth.
Hey, watch it, pal. Tuesday was still in my youth. I was still younger than
I was
now.
younger than I am now.
That said, I mean, is it really a punishment to not get to go to Canada?
I was talking to a Texan the other day. He says he loves it, and he's so proud that he left due to the politics.
It's like saying you don't get to eat lima beans. I don't get to eat lima beans.
That's a really great analogy, Sparks. What do you mean no lima beans for me? Poor fella I am.
And then, of course, the main event match was Edge versus Sheamus, where Edge defeated Sheamus with a series of spears.
His work rate must just be phenomenal that people want to work with Sheamus that much. Mm-hmm. And obviously his injury rate's relatively low. Yep. So good for Sheamus. Even though he doesn't get pushed, he gets pushed by the other wrestlers.
He's got to work safe because he's got to work safe even just for himself. You know.
That's true. He is a man of a certain age now.
He's a man of a certain age who also has a certain neck condition. And therefore, he can't be going out there doing a bunch of crazy bumps. So he doesn't expect his opponent to do a bunch of crazy bumps. So he's like, how can we put together a match without the crazy bumps?
We'll do all the faux violence that you want me to do, because I can do some serious faux violence. Yes, you can. But you know what? I'm surprised Sheamus wanted to go to Canada. I just want to point out, professional wrestlers leave Canada and become U.S. citizens.
That's because there's more money to be had there.
Well, that's a reason. You ever left a girlfriend because you met one who wasn't a bitch? Well, that's still a reason.
No, that's fair.
Moving on to Dynamite for AEW. So, instead of going match by match down this Dynamite, I'm going to start off with the match that we need to talk about. And that is what some people are calling the worst AEW match of all time. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Death Match.
Oh my god, I forgot it. That's what I thought was at the beginning of All Out. Or All In. So I'm very glad that was... Yeah, and I remember watching it even. It was so... Why was Leatherface there? Other than
I didn't mind Leatherface being there. Like, whatever. Everyone's all like, oh, look, it's like back in WCW when RoboCop came out and they're just redoing the same stupid shit. Like, whatever. They got paid a shit ton of money to promote Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Leatherface was going to show up. Wow. They could have got a better person showing up as Leatherface, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. They got $100,000 for that sponsor segment. And
there you go.
They gave it all to the Maui relief efforts.
Nice.
The Maui wildfire.
This is probably a good spot for our PSA. Smokey the Bear called me today, said that only you can prevent forest fires. Mm. So Smarks, I want to know why you did that to Hawaii.
If by you, you mean the CEO of the Maui
power
Electric
company that decided not
to trim all the trees, then yes, only he could prevent
forest fires.
That forest fire.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And there's video proof of it. That power line came down. It hit that, or that tree came down. It hit that power line.
There's video proof, but even more than that, they
didn't tell the people in Maui.
Well, the thing is, he did tell. He said, and I quote, he sent messages because he wanted the Maui government to pay for the tree trimming around that. So he knew that it was a fire hazard. He knew that it could cause problems.
I mean, once the fire had started, the officials in Hawaii did not relay that to, I don't know, the people in the path of the fire.
Yeah. So. Horrible
thing. And now, no, the joke was tasteless, or only you can prevent forest fires. However, you know,
someone could have prevented that particular forest fire.
Yeah, someone could.
I would like to point out that the Maui Power Company, that the CEO, who had
known about it since 2019,
has known about it for years, has sent multiple emails to the city and state about getting public funding to remove it. Also has an entire section on their website about how to trim trees around power lines so that they don't cause fires.
Side note, there is one thing that exempts him a little, and this is very little. They had also requested twice for the government to increase their rates so they could afford to cut down the lines. Now, I would venture to guess that with a monopoly, they could afford to cut down.
I am 100% certain they could. It just would have cut into their profit margins.
Yes. What?
And power companies are notorious for doing that. Now, I would like to, full disclosure, point out that D.A. Fabe and I both live in Nebraska.
Public power state.
A state that has publicly owned power, right? a not for profit power system. So our rates are regulated, and I've never I've had problems with the power company from a like, hey, the power was out after the storm for 2 days or whatever. They didn't get it fixed or yada 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 things. That's fine. That's one thing. Never had a problem with the rates. Never once have I opened up my electric bill and looked at the rates and said, that's outrageous.
Mostly because you don't have an option to switch either.
Don't have an option to switch, but like I've been in other states. I've had electric bills from other states. I've seen other states. Outrageous. This has never been. And so that's full disclosure there on it.
Also, they do require you in Nebraska to cut those lines or cut the trees. They come in and do it, and then they put a portion of it on your bill for what, like 12 months. They break it down for a while.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so if you have $150 tree trimming to get done, they come out and do it. You don't get an option, and then they add $18 a month to your bill.
Yep.
Usually, they come out and do it.
Which, importantly, has stopped any city in Nebraska from burning down due to a wildfire from a power line being hit by a tree. I'm not saying there haven't been power lines hit by trees in Nebraska. I'm saying they're on top of it enough that we haven't had major wildfires.
Yes.
Caused by them.
I have a tree in my front yard that is vertical. Smarks has seen it. That is vertical, very, very large tree, incredibly large maple tree. Probably double the height of the power lines, and I have high tension lines in front of my house. So it could. But it is also trimmed in a way that it does not touch those power lines. And they don't bill me for it because they already billed me for it. And so when they get close again, and I'll have to pay something if it hits the lines. If it falls and hits the lines.
But I mentioned this particular fact about public power in Nebraska on a TikTok about public power. And blew some people's minds. A state that is, for the most part, politically redder than red, has socialized power. And I said, we've had it since the 1940s, man. We put it in place back then, and it's just worked.
People don't get mad about it. Well, and it's not managed by the government. There are independent entities that manage it in separate areas. It is a granted monopoly with limited powers. So the government can't make money off of it like a lot of other socialist programs. So that's the other piece. It is privately run.
So I will correct you on one thing. A socialist program, the government can't make money off of.
Okay.
That's the way socialism works.
I get it. Yeah.
A socialist program, the government.
It is a privatized, publicly owned program. So you receive the service, you run it.
Much like the fire departments in Nebraska are almost exclusively volunteer fire departments.
Yes. Not where you live, though.
Most of them around me.
I bet they have some volunteer. But
most of them around me, I believe, are volunteer, but there's probably some. Anyway.
Also, your power is way cheaper than mine because I cover large rural swaths and you cover a metro area.
Yeah. Now, importantly, I have a different public power than I had when I lived out in central Nebraska.
Yes.
Most of Nebraska is covered by Nebraska public power.
Which is what you used to have.
Which is what I used to have. But the Omaha area has its own public power. OPPD. They get their power from different power sources, but they're run relatively the same.
Similarly, yep. And I have Southern Power, which is a mostly rural company that charges a little bit more because it covers a lot more territory.
Anyway,
and in Montreal, you have what?
Well, Hydro-Quebec. So Hydro-Quebec is essentially the monopoly here. If you're in a building, it's not that bad for electricity, but honestly, it can get stupid expensive. You're looking at maybe for like a 3.5, like for a house, you're looking at maybe 120 a month.
That's
Obviously,
what I
winter
have.
times.
That's what mine is. Mine's more expensive in the summer than it is in the winter. Oh, you're talking on top of gas. Or I guess you don't have gas.
No, so not necessarily gas. Mostly, a lot of the places now are electric.
Okay.
But there are still certain places that have gas. Just depends on what building or what.
Yeah. Mine averages about 120 bucks a month in the winter. My electric is dirt cheap, like 20 bucks. And in the summer, last month it was $230. There will be 3 months where I'll have something close to 300 bucks.
And the winter time is going to get worse though for you technically.
No, the winter gets dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. Air conditioning is power on electric,
right?
And I have gas for my furnace.
Heating is for gas. Okay, fair. Yeah. Nice. So not bad considering you're mostly just like us. You get a lot more winter months than you do summer. So yeah. Good price to pay for some AC, and I imagine you have central air on top of that. Yeah. So that's
climate control in my home is about $2,500 a year between the two of them.
Yeah.
Okay, not bad.
Anyways,
SmartSys is a little bit cheaper than that.
A little bit cheaper. I also importantly live in
a metro area.
A metro area. I also don't live currently in a separate house. I'm in a part of townhouses, which means my heating and cooling is a little different because I only have like one actual wall to the outside world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So as long as your neighbors aren't freezing you out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that all plays into it a bit. Anyway, the Texas Chainsaw. Let's get back on pack.
Yeah, sorry.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre match. I will give it one thing. One thing that I will give it that I appreciated, and that was it was a no DQ match where from point one, all members of it understood that it was no DQ, and therefore
everyone just showed up.
Everyone just showed up. Because that's one of my pet peeves with no DQ matches is when, especially the heel, doesn't just fucking cheat from the beginning. It's no DQ, man. Right. I'm in a no DQ match. I'm carrying a fucking hammer to the ring, right? Like, what are you going to do? Ref, stop me? If I'm Cash Wheeler, I'm just bringing a gun.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
But for this one, Jeff Hardy made his way to the ring and then immediately left and went through the crowd to find Jeff Jarrett and found him backstage. And then, like, instantly, Karen Jarrett was involved, and then Brother Zay showed up, and Ethan Page and Matt Hardy, and Satnam Singh came out for some reason or other wearing overalls. I mean, he fit the gimmick, I guess, but he was the only one out of the entire thing that dressed according to the gimmick, right?
Right.
Like Jeff Hardy dressed as Jeff Hardy always does, face paint and all. Brother Zay dressed like Brother Zay. Ethan Page dressed like Ethan Page. Even Jeff Jarrett dressed like Jeff Jarrett. But Satnam Singh's like, nope, I'm gonna look like a hillbilly. I'm putting on them overalls, man.
Yeah, I mean, thank God someone dressed according to the theme because it did look cool. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
He probably looked over at Jeff Jarrett and said, didn't you guys get my email? We were gonna all dress like this. Now I'm the one who looks stupid.
No, he's the only one getting the kudos.
Mm-hmm. But ended up Jeff Jarrett winning. I didn't absolutely hate the match. I hated Jeff Jarrett being on my TV. I hated Karen Jarrett being involved as well.
Right.
This Jarrett creep is really making me angry. A year ago, we had 0 Jarretts on our show. and now we've got 2. Pretty soon he's going to be bringing his son in, and maybe his grandkid or some shit like that. Or
Wait. He's replicating?
It's his great grandkid. I don't know how many kids Jeff Jarrett has.
He definitely has a kid, I feel like, for sure.
Wait. Never mind.
Let's find out from the Wikipedia. Maybe his dad's going to show up. I don't know if Jerry Jarrett's still...
I mean, does him raising Kurt Angle's kids count?
Oh,
it all depends on whether they took the Jarrett last name.
I'm a terrible person. Just put me in hell right now.
That was horrible. No, but it's there. You got to use it. We're all going to hell anyways, so it's fine. Whoop, whoop.
It says he has 3 children, but it doesn't give any names for them, so,
Hopefully those aren't Kurt's.
There's just too many Jarretts on my screen already. But anyways, also on the night we had Orange Cassidy starting off the show beating Wheeler Yuta, which then brought out the rest of Blackpool Combat Club to try to beat up on him, which then brought out the rest of the Best Friends, which then brought out the Lucha Bros, which then brought out Eddie Kingston, which then made D.A. Fabe super happy.
I live with the world as it is.
We then found out what Chris Jericho will do. Is he going to take Don Callis up on this offer or not?
Oh, that was a great segment.
The answer is he was going to take Don Callis up on his offer.
Yeah,
Don Callis did not think that was going to happen and had prepared a painting in the ring of him holding Chris Jericho's severed head.
Right.
Which, when Chris Jericho saw that, Chris Jericho had a little bit of a meltdown, as one does when presented with a photo of someone holding their severed head. And then Takeshita came in and started beating up on Chris Jericho, and Will Ospreay showed up and took out Chris Jericho.
So I feel like we didn't have... I mean, we sort of had Will Ospreay with Don Callis from the Kenny Omega thing, but we haven't really seen anything else that made you think Will Ospreay...
There was no reason for... Connected. Yeah. There was no connection there specifically.
Other than the one that had already...
Well, I think it was just presumed the only member of Don Callis' team was... what is it? Takeshita, no? So...
The only thing that really actually makes me angry about this is they have since announced that it's going to be Ospreay versus Chris Jericho at All In. I'm sure the match is going to be fine, right? But I really wish we could have seen Ospreay versus someone that I think could pull another 5-star match out of him. And I don't have the confidence that Chris Jericho can.
I feel like if somebody can pull a 5-star match out of Chris Jericho, though,
it would be Ospreay.
Possibly. Ospreay. But they have Sammy Guevara right there. And a match, Sammy Guevara versus Will Ospreay, would be fun. Be a lot of fun. So I'm just a little nervous about that.
Maybe it becomes a tag. Maybe they get Takeshita. And
Takeshita's already in another match. Takeshita's in the 6-man tag, Bullet Club Gold versus the Golden Elite. So that's not going to happen. So who knows? We'll find out. I just I don't hate it. I'm not like, I hate this. I'm like, it's just a little disappointing for me.
The Golden Elite is what? Omega, Ibushi,
and Hangman Page.
Right.
Technically, the Golden Elite is Kenny Omega, Ibushi, and other members of the Elite. which could be Hangman Page or it could be the Young Bucks if they were doing it as an 8-man tag or whatever.
Right. Okay.
In this case, they're doing it as a trios 6-man tag. So it's Hangman Page.
Also, have a little bit of mercy on Ospreay for wanting that match. They were supposed to have it, and COVID got in the way. And then on top of that, if you had the opportunity to, and I'm going to use acting as the thing, if you had the opportunity to act with somebody who had the chops that made you want to act, you might do a play with them, right?
I'm not going to give the answer that you really want.
You don't really like to act anymore, but okay, if you had a chance to produce with Coppola,
even at my prime, I would much rather have acted with a younger, up and coming, vibrant talent than an Al Pacino at the end of his career. Right? I love the movie Heat. Al Pacino's phenomenal. Right? Al Pacino today cannot put on the performance that Al Pacino could 30 years ago.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be in Heat. You can do it in, Scarface. Wait, no, that's better.
Al Pacino today cannot put on the performance that he did 30 years ago. He cannot put on the performance that he did 20 years ago. Same with De Niro, right? And that's, in the end, I would much rather be part of the now rather than the past in anything. So whether it's producing
that's a fair statement, but you can understand.
I can understand. I just
given
think
the opportunity to act with Al Pacino, you would do that. Even if it was the program, which by the way has a great Al Pacino monologue.
But if I were Will Ospreay and I'm performing in my home country at the biggest wrestling event in history, I would want it to be someone that can showcase my full capabilities. And I just do not believe that modern day Chris Jericho can do that. And I don't believe that based off of the last 2 years of Chris Jericho matches.
I understand.
And that's what it comes down. There's probably a dozen people on the AEW roster that I would rather have seen this match.
Listen, he's got a sequel with Mox yet to go, a sequel with Omega yet to go.
He's got the end of the trilogy. That's what I would have really rathered. I would have rather we got the end of that trilogy.
That would have definitely probably sold more tickets on top of that.
The second one with Mox, because that was a schmoz finish.
Yeah, but
we then had Mox when in AEWs or in.
It was in New Japan.
New Japan. Okay.
He's the one who took the. I'm sorry, he did not. Mox retained the New Japan United States Championship from him, and then somebody else took it off Mox.
Minor correction: it was the United States champion. It's now the UK championship.
Oh, that's correct, because he changed it.
Because he changed it.
And that builds that storyline for Mox to come in and have a sequel with him.
One of my all-time favorite gimmicks is the I took this belt and now I'm going to rename it the belt of my country. It doesn't matter whether it's Lance Storm doing it with the United States title and turning it into the Canadian title. It doesn't matter if I'm trying to remember who else did it, because there have been about a half a dozen people who have done it over the years. The second variation on that gimmick is the I might not be from the region that title seemingly represents, but now I'm going to pretend to be, like when D'Lo pretended to be European during his entire European championship run.
Right. Yeah.
It's just the flipping it on its head. Anyways, we had Darby Allin and Nick Wayne versus the Gates of Agony, which really was just there to show off Nick Wayne a little bit, but also to hype up the Darby Allin and Sting versus a Swerve and AR Fox match, a coffin match at All In. But I did like seeing Gates of Agony Toa Leona and Bishop Khan. It's odd. Individually, they each look like one half of a baby version of Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah.
Like if you took both of them and you mushed them together, you would get Roman Reigns.
A whole Roman Reigns.
Whole Roman Reigns. But separate. Bishop Khan, I believe, is Cameroonian. And Toa Leone is Samoan, at least partially. I think he's Samoan and Puerto Rican, I want to say. You mush them together, you get one Roman Reigns. But it featured the return, or at least the first time debut, I should say, in AEW, of Joker Sting.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
Which if
Which
you're
I
an
didn't
old time
enjoy
TNA,
but I do enjoy now.
I enjoyed
a
it in
short
TNA
stint.
too, but
I didn't enjoy it in TNA. I thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was the worst of the Sting characters.
you then had Bunny versus Britt. The return of Bunny after being out for injury for the last 6 months or so, 5 months. And the winner of this goes to All In to be part of the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Championship. And that made me sad because I knew it was going to be Britt Baker winning, even though I wanted the Bunny to come out and get a big win on her return.
Well, here's the deal. If you're putting the title on Britt Baker for having would that be a third women's title run?
Just second for her.
Just second. It would
In
be
terms
Tony
of-
Storm's third.
Yeah. In
Tony
terms
Storm's
of women,
third.
the only people who've held
Hikaru
it
can
twice.
continue her second. And so you're Britt, Tony, Hikaru Shida. Who's the fourth one then?
Saraya, no?
Saraya, that's what it is.
Yep.
Would be first on Saraya. It can continue. It could create a second run for Britt, and if you're doing that, then it's fine because she can elevate the women's division as she has shown before. That said, if you're not doing that, it elevates the women's division to put Bunny in that match, whether she wins or not. And then you have two first-timers.
Yeah. That's kind of my thoughts. It's like, I'm like, also, like, we've talked a lot over the years about how we think moving the title more often can be beneficial for the title. But there's also something to be said in the case of Hikaru Shida about keeping it on her maybe a little bit longer.
Oh, sure.
And so I'm worried with Britt being in the match. Between Britt being in the match and also Hikaru Shida being outnumbered 2-1 by Outcast, Saraya and Tony, I'm just like fairly certain that Hikaru Shida is going to lose the belt, and then this whole match was put together as a way for her to lose the title without
taking the fall,
losing the title, right?
Are you thinking finger poke?
I'm not thinking finger poke. I'm thinking team up, and then
here's your shot. I mean, even if it's team up, we beat somebody up, and then no, go ahead, you finish it.
Either that or team. I mean, because they still have Britt Baker to take care of, so they team up on Hikaru Shida, and then one of them goes off to block Britt Baker from making the pin, or from interrupting the pin, while Saraya covers Hikaru Shida and gets a championship run. I don't want Saraya to be the champion, not because I have any problems with her capabilities or character or any of that stuff. I'm just not sure that she's in.
She hasn't been in enough matches.
Not enough matches, but also not the physical condition to be the champion. And this isn't about shape. This isn't about looks. This is about she spent several years not wrestling.
Right.
I don't know if she's to the point where she could take the rigors of being the champion.
Would be a great photo op though at Wembley.
Would be her home country.
Yeah.
But
Real quickly, 2001. That's live right there.
live Morgan.
Who is currently injured.
This is Bobby Lashley and MVP beating the Viking Raiders War
Viking Raiders Experience Project.
Somebody looks a lot like Claudio.
Cesaro.
Looks a lot like Claudio.
Yeah.
It's obviously not him.
We should contact him and say, hey, you got a doppelganger in WWE.
26 out of 20 or 26 out of 99. Bobby.
Glorious.
That is certainly glorious.
Was it one of you guys that sent the thing about if maybe it was Bud who sent it, or the Enigma who sent it? It's something along the lines of if there was a sound that played every time you got out your male man member, what would it be? And that was it. That was the audio. This is Ziggles and Robert Roode are the advantage for the Elimination Chamber. Whatever.
This is which pack that you have?
Shelton Benjamin.
Hey,
These are the
I was
tops
having him down.
WWE
The tops.
trading cards from 21.
Hmm.
These are probably, other than the NXT or the tops, and here's the problem: all of them are tops. So I don't know if it's the development of tops or what, but Upper Deck puts out a better card. We've seen this with the NXTs and the WWE.
Panini
trading cards.
is the one. Upper Deck does the AEW cards. Panini does the.
Well, this is an Upper Deck, I think, isn't it? Revolution.
No, I believe it's
Is that a
Panini.
Panini? Oh, well, I can't see it on here, and I got rid of all those covers. Anyway, sorry, Angel Garza at Super Showdown. Yeah, Tops just does not put out, and maybe Smarks would agree. He does not put out, or disagree. Does not put out a good card.
No, I wasn't a fan of the Tops product. I really like
anything that Tops puts out.
The WWE Chronicles, are
Panini,
and they're top tier.
Prisms are good,
in my opinion.
Prisms are good. I have several of the Chronicles from last time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can pull over and just have a high quality card. It does not matter what I pull out.
Yeah.
God, I love that card. I forgot about that one.
Mm-hmm. So my pack that I just opened selects starts out with George the Animal Steel.
God, I love those selects. All of my selects are upstairs in my display case. So
Follows it up with currently in AEW Jake the Snake Roberts.
Nice.
And then I'm going to show you this. And then I'm going to show you why I'm pissed. Or maybe you'll be able to see. A select Liv Morgan
Live.
entrance.
yeah,
Which I really like, except, let's see if I can. Do you see that there?
was it folded?
It wasn't folded in the thing, but there is a
There's
very
crease.
Solid crease.
solid crease all the way through the card. It's very frustrating because I really like that card. But it makes up for it by the chase card in the deck in that pack, which is
Miss
Prismatic
Bliss.
Sensation of Alexa Bliss.
That's
is
a
a nice
beautiful card. I love that card.
That is really beautiful. So, also on Dynamite, we had the Guns versus Young Bucks at the main event, which really was there just to set up the FTR versus Young Bucks at Wembley. You had the rest of Bullet Club Gold came out to attack, and then FTR showed up to take out the rest of the Bullet Club Gold, and then, of course, there was a standoff in the ring. Okay, final pack of the night.
Go ahead.
For me. Mr. Randall. Excuse me. Randall Keith Orton.
Randall Keith.
Who might potentially be coming back. Apparently he is in the gym. He's working out. And Mr. Keith Orton is ready to come back.
I've heard his doctors have been trying to talk him out of coming back.
Right. Yeah.
But, a Shelton Benjamin.
Ain't no stopping him. No, just won't be on the main roster. On television.
Very nice Mr. Perfect.
Love it.
Card is quite perfect, if you ask me. Quite perfect.
And a prismatic of the five-time
Ducky quack quack card. Booker T.
I could live the rest of my life without hearing Shucky Ducky quack quack one more time. Anyways, moving on to Rampage. We had Commander versus Rey Fenix.
Really fun matchup.
Fun matchup that has the lucha style and all the big spots.
Mm-hmm.
You had Aussie Open versus Ethan Page and Brother Zay, which was really just to hype up Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole, baby. You had Sammy Guevara versus John Cruz in a match that was apparently
fucking. Oh no, I think that was on Collision. There was one who had stupid tats all over the place.
John Cruz, the match was shorter than Sammy Guevara's entrance.
And he's not exactly known for a Undertaker style entrance where, you double up the entrance with the time of the ring. You get 27 minutes.
And then you had Tony Storm and Ruby Soho versus Hikaru Shida and Sky Blue. Which was just put together to make us a standoff of the four people in the Fatal 4-Way and all that.
Correct.
Collision was a little bit more eventful. Of course, being an hour long, it has to be.
2 hours.
2 hours long.
Longer.
An hour longer is what I meant to say. Correct. Jay White versus Dalton Castle. Tony Khan, why have you not given Dalton Castle a full-time contract? I need to see him more often. I know you have had him on Ring of Honor quite a bit. He just needs to be. Just give him some money, man. Dalton Castle is the best. He's so much fun. His entrance cracks me up every time. Anyways, and Jay White is always good. Dalton Castle suplexed Jay White a bunch, but Jay White was able to get the win. You opened up the show, of course. I meant to start with this. Samoa Joe coming out for his match against the Golden Vampire, an unknown luchador that we've never heard from before, and it's obviously not CM Punk in suit.
A mask costume. I don't know that I would put that as a suit.
It's called a morph suit. That's what they call them.
That's what the Power Rangers wore, damn it.
Mm-hmm. It's morphin' time. Anyways, CM Punk, bless his soul, had to get Samoa Joe up for a GTS. It was the roughest looking GTS I've ever seen in my life. I don't blame CM Punk for it because Samoa Joe is a very big boy. But at the same point, CM Punk, you chose that as your finisher. Like, you could have chose anything as your finisher. You know,
this is not your first time fighting Samoa Joe. You knew what was coming.
I deeply dislike Hulk Hogan. But Hulk Hogan was smart enough to know my finisher needs to be something that I can hit even when I am worn out from the match and the person I'm facing is a lot larger than me. Big boot, stinky leg drop.
I would venture to guess his back would tell you it was not a good move, though.
Or his hips.
I understand what you're saying, but he was able to do it for a very long time in his career.
Yep.
And he never once struggled to do it.
Nope.
Also, I would like to note that it was fun watching the replays online and watching Joe grab the mask. It's just, the invisibility of kayfabe makes you look for certain things now.
Yeah, when you start to see how the sausage got made.
Yeah. What?
Kind of fun. Sausage,
I didn't see any sausages.
How it gets made.
Oh.
You know how sausage gets made, right? How they take the meat and then they stick it inside the pig intestine.
Are we still talking about wrestling? Or are we talking about food or sex?
Now I'm talking about sausage.
Food or sex?
You think about pig intestines and you think about sex?
That's weird.
I mean, teach their own, bud.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. And this motherfucker's not one of us. He said he'd fuck a goat.
Hey, no, nothing about goats. We were talking about pigs, bud.
Oink, oink.
They're much cleaner animals.
Yes.
They don't.
In fact, they're so much like humans that we do a lot of our testing on their flesh.
They don't suddenly go stiff and pass out when you frighten them.
Jesus Christ.
That's facts, though.
This is the fucking... I don't like being the subject of the creepy conversations.
Painting goats still crack me up.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was obvious it was CM Punk in the costume. He struggled to get Samoa Joe up, barely hit the GTS, but whatever. I would like to point out that his costume apparently was chosen to be an homage to Edge.
For the Conquistadors.
Oh, the Conquistadors
and Vampire.
I would also like to point out that at first I thought it was because I just this guy came out, and so at first I thought it was Cyclope, and then I also thought the Amazing Spider. Is that what it was that had the gold one? And I didn't think of La Conquistadors, so
yep.
I thought of two WCW guys.
Then you had Bullet Club Gold versus the Iron Savages, which featured one of the most memeable moments in modern professional wrestling, when Iron Savage Bronson, I believe it was, in the middle of the ring screamed very, very loudly so the cameras could pick him up, "I'm the real ass boy because I'm going to grab it and..."
Oh my god! I did not catch that. I don't think I think I missed that match entirely. It's Jesus. I gotta look that up.
I hate the name the Iron Savages. They used to be Bear Country. Apparently, there's a trademark problem with Bear Country, so they changed it. Iron Savages fucking blows. It's a dumb name.
Not a good name.
For a tag team that's now a trio that I really do enjoy, I just hate Iron Savage as a name. It sucks. Bullet Club Gold got the win on that one. Afterwards, you got a interview with Ricky Starks where he was angry at Tony Schiavone, because Tony Schiavone lied to the people last week. He lied when he said it was a 30-day suspension, because it's a 4-week suspension, not 30 days. You lied.
Okay, yeah.
4 weeks is only 28.
So it's 2 days less.
Yes.
2 days less.
Technically a lie, I guess. He also made sure to point out that he got his manager's license so that he could still be on the show, because he's now a manager. And his new client is Big Bill, who Big Bill had a match against a local guy and destroyed the local guy, but it really was just an excuse for Ricky Starks to be on TV and talk smack. Do I expect Ricky Starks to be cleared to wrestle for some reason or other prior to the end of his 4-week suspension? Yes, 100% yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they clear him this week. I suspect, because his feud was with CM Punk, and now that CM Punk is going against Samoa Joe officially at All In, that they'll clear him so that he can go against the winner of the CM Punk versus Samoa Joe match at All In, at All Out, right? So, which would be a 1-week reduction.
Who are you saying? Who are you saying is going to be against CM Punk at All Out?
Starks.
Oh, okay. So you're not thinking it's going to be an MJF against CM Punk?
No, I think that's
not
part
that
of that.
early.
Not that early. Okay.
I
Even
think,
though I fantasy booked that the other day when we were having quite a bit of fun. Yeah, that's not happening yet.
That's full
That's
gear.
Revolution, full gear.
Revolution. Hey, Sean G90. Thanks for the follow, man. We're just talking AEW now. We talked WWE earlier. Now we're talking AEW. We're going to get talking about All In here in a little bit. But yeah, no, I fully expect it to be Ricky Starks versus whoever's the winner, probably CM Punk, at All In. Ooh, Sean will be at All In on Sunday.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Jealous. So did you travel for that, Sean, or are you from the UK?
We also
answer your will. We're going to talk other stuff.
Yeah. We also had Willow Nightingale take on Diamante, which he is from the UK, he says.
Well, thank you. We love seeing support everywhere in the world that helps this grow. So,
and for being up so early.
Yeah, you're up a little early, but you said your little brother got the tickets. Are you going with him, or were they like a present of sorts for you? Powerhouse Hobbs versus a nobody. But really, this was just to set up Miro accepting the challenge. So now we're going to get Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro at All Out. Sean says he's going with his little brother. Well, I hope you guys have a ton of fun at it. It looks like it's going to be a blast. You're going to be part of history, the biggest wrestling event in history.
In UK history, yep.
In world history, as long as you don't count Collision in Korea.
Right.
Yes.
No. We all try to forget about.
I thought WrestleMania 3 was 110.
That's that again. That's
I know it's WWE's fake numbers, but
Yeah, that's WWE fake numbers. But the paid attendance record for a pro wrestling event prior to that was WrestleMania 32, 80,709. And as of right now, AW is at
80,846.
80,846. Correct.
And they're eligible to set up for 85,000, but they can open up more seats if they get past that. So,
Well, I would suggest at the 2, is that what it's called? The 2?
O2. Yeah.
O2 at O2. We saw very well. No, I know, but I would suggest at O2 we saw very well, based on that audience, how much the UK really wants big time world televised wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. Because
they have great promotions.
They made the show.
They have great local promotions or great national promotions in the UK. I'm not saying that. But they do want some of the big worldwide companies to show up there.
For sure. No, and they clearly showed that and that was only like 18,000 fans for Money in the Bank, and that shit was loud.
That was loud.
SmackDown was, I think, I want to say maybe even less than that, or maybe about the same. But SmackDown,
I don't know if you've seen a Man U soccer match before, but it's always loud in the UK at anything they're passionate
But
about.
that's a bigger stadium, though. You know what I mean? To have such a small venue, so to speak, or a venue just like ours that we would have here for the most part, and still be that freaking loud is pretty amazing. So
I'd love to see a Mania in the UK. I agree, Sean.
They teased it heavily when they were last there.
But I also think they're a little afraid to do it because if they can't oversell, but it would also be a year and a half later at the earliest.
Yeah, they've already got next year's WrestleMania already planned. The following year is reportedly already planned for Minneapolis. So it wouldn't be until WrestleMania 2026 at the earliest.
Bro, if it's in Minneapolis.
If it's in Minneapolis,
they have a great international airport. I think all three of us go.
They do, and it's only about a 5-hour drive from here. Less.
I can make a weekend out of that.
My go-to would have been fucking Philly, because Philly is not too far, but those tickets got sold quick.
Well, that's the rough thing is, as much as I'm like, oh, I'd love to go to WrestleMania in I also, did you see the cost of tickets for WrestleMania this year?
Cheap ones are $1,000 a pop a night.
No, but there was even ones, but I swear I saw ones at like $60 kind of thing, but they were like really up high. The highest were $10,000. That's front row though. So it's not too bad.
Worth it for Simon to give us an up.
To answer you, Sean, I will be watching All In. I was actually going to talk about it that I will probably be live streaming my reactions from it. I do not know if JLB or DA Fabe will also be joining me for the live stream.
I will be at a bud's house, unfortunately, so we'll be watching it and
you got a phone,
eating a bunch of junk food. I do got a
Show
phone.
us the party.
Fair.
I likely will be, but I will be watching it with my son, so I will be popping in and out. My son and daughter, I guess.
Fine.
She is becoming a wrestling fan too. Obsessed with Andre the Giant. Obsessed.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice.
Let's see here.
Seriously, I can't get an Andre card without her saying, "Can I have that one?" I can't walk through the toy aisle if there's an Andre in it because I have to buy it.
Well, we'll try to pick you out of the crowd, Sean, as we watch on our tiny little TV screens. And by tiny, like at 60.
So 60 inch, yeah, that's fucking big enough. Yeah, you'll be able to see Sean. He'll be there somewhere. Just look out for him.
You're out of control. 60 inch. I almost bought an 84 inch today, and then I said nay.
So I had a 50 inch, and then it like randomly died one day, and it was literally like the day before an AEW pay-per-view. I'm like, I gotta have a TV for the pay-per-view tomorrow, right?
Is that what we used to watch on at your house? The 50 inch?
Yes, would have been the 50 inch, yeah. And so I measured my car, and I went to the store, the Target, and I picked out one that I thought measured would fit.
It did not.
It did not. And so there I'm standing at a Target with a TV, 4K, 60-inch 4K TV that I had already paid for and no way to get it home. And it starts raining, and I'm like, son of a bitch. So fortunately, I had a coworker who's got a small pickup and was able to come pick me up and do it. But as of right now, just to answer what we were talking about before, as of right now for WrestleMania Night 1, the cheapest ticket available on Ticketmaster is $500.
So a diesel a piece.
And that's fucking nosebleed.
Worth it, do you think? I think it would be still worth it.
Yeah.
Because knowing us, we would buy the meet and greets that happened the days before.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are a couple tickets in the...
Yeah, but are you looking at a reseller? Or are you looking at
these are official platinum, actual WWE prices. That's not reseller prices.
Because I swear
and that's at their football field, right? In Philly?
Yeah, Lincoln Financial Field.
Lincoln Financial.
Boy, I don't know if early April is late enough for a
There are a couple
north
tickets
of Dixon line.
Now, there's no way I can get to Philly, so but right now there are a couple tickets that are in the standing section, like on the floor, right? They would be behind the announce desk. They're a bit back for $1,000 each. That's really not too shabby at all.
No. It's the
in the
entry ramp
standing section. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Now there are nicer ones for $2,000 or $3,000, but
and Smarks, you never did say, are you going to the one in Omaha, the Raw in Omaha?
I have not bought my tickets yet. I'm planning on going to it, but then AEW announced they're in Kansas City the following night. And so now my brain is like, do I go to Kansas City and go to AEW? Because I've really wanted to go to an AEW show for a Dynamite.
That's a day off of work too, though, bud.
But it is a day off of work. It's a Tuesday night, special Tuesday night Dynamite. But it's, Tuesday night, I'd have to take a full day off. I'd have to take the afternoon on Tuesday and the morning on Wednesday to do it. It's definitely a lot more than just going to a show here in Omaha. So I'm torn. So I got to get to a couple things. Sean says he will be here to support us while he's at All In.
That's awesome.
Baller. Come on, man. I'll do it. Yeah. He says he really wants Cody to beat Roman. He should have done it at WrestleMania this year. But he knows that will not happen. We're doing great.
Records to break.
Yeah. They had to break some records. And
that were already broken.
Cody hasn't faced enough adversity yet.
Apparently, yeah. It's too long for Cody to win at next WrestleMania, though.
I swear to God, if they have him go for here, I will banish myself from watching him.
No, you won't. You're gonna want to see his first night as champion promo. So what are you guys want to talk about?
No, if they have Roman go 4 years.
Oh no, I feel like that's Cody's time to shine.
Well,
No way.
It's really easy for Roman to go 4 years when he's never fucking there.
That's fair. Yep.
Sean, who was not here during the first half of our show, do we think Edge will be going to AEW?
I would like it to happen, but
Let me explain.
I don't see it happening.
There's too much. Let me sum up. I'm like 90% certain he's not. But just the way that he talked about it leaves enough that my brain is like, maybe. Because he wouldn't say retire. He wouldn't say official last match. He wouldn't say a lot of those things. He even, like, afterwards said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to sit and think about it for a week. And then we'll figure out. And importantly, a week later would be AEW All In. But he does say that his contract isn't up till the end of September, which, if he's being honest about that and not working us, would put him not there until later. But it would be fun to see Edge and Christian together again, either as partners or as rivals in AEW. Edge and Christian were some of my earliest WWE fandom. In fact, I can't quite make him out there, but that's Edge hanging out on that wrestling ring right behind me there. And that figure goes back to 2001. So, I would love to see Edge in AEW. I think he's probably not, but the way he talked leaves enough up in the air that he would not say retirement. He would not say I'm done. And the fact that the Hardys are there, who are longtime friends of his, the fact that his absolute best friend in the world is there in AEW, the fact that the schedule is a lot lighter, the bumps are a lot less, the fact that he can see a 63-year-old Sting out there having the time of his life might weigh on him, make him think, man, maybe I can do that. So, speaking of Christian, the last match on Collision was Darby Allin versus Christian Cage. And this was a fun match all in all. And it really just set up the way Darby Allin is going to have a match against Luchasaurus for the TNT title down the road at All Out. But so now let's quickly talk. Since we were talking about All In, let's talk about the matches at All In. Because this is going to be the last full show before All In. We're going to have our fun show on Tuesday, where we'll probably talk a little bit about it. Let's talk the matches so far announced for All In. On the pre-show, Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. I do not think MJF and Adam Cole are going to become Ring of Honor Tag Champions.
No, definitely.
Unless they want a significantly higher work rate.
Yeah. But
but that's where the turn is going to happen.
This is where, or at the very least, something that plays into it. Like, during this match, MJF accidentally hits Adam Cole when he goes to hit Kyle Fletcher with something, right? And so then at the match later, it can be something will happen to set up storyline for later on the night.
I honestly think it's going to be a legit turn. You just hear their segments talking all the time. MJF on Dynamite saying like, hey, this title is the only thing I care about. I don't care about anything else. Adam Cole expressing that he really wants that ROH Tag Team Championship as well. So that you're already seeing the divide. It's just a matter of who's going to do it. Is Adam Cole going to end up is going to end up turning on MJF first, or is MJF going to do it? Either way, I'm excited for that to happen. And that segment was not mentioned, I don't believe, for Dynamite when we did the recap there. But wow, that segment was super fire, super fun. These guys have magic. They have great chemistry together. Especially the little jab with Roderick Strong as well. Just great fun time. And I almost am certain that there has to be a legitimate turn during the tag team match to further build that main event. Doesn't need more building, but it's just going to add to it.
I 100% think there will be a turn on the night. I don't think the full turn is going to happen until the main event, personally. But
can you turn while you're on the main event when you're facing each other?
Sure you can. If you cheat to win, that's a turn.
And I think that it's too early.
You hope that it's too early.
Too early for them, not to be best buds after this?
Yeah, DA Fabe loves the best buds thing.
Oh, they're awesome. They're fantastic. I would love for them to keep going, but at the end of the day, I feel like I
agree. Enigma said that you got to get to getting while the getting's good. I think the getting's going to be good for a while here. It's just my take on it, and there.
For sure. You laid it out. Nah.
I understand where you come from. I don't necessarily want it to be done between the two of them.
I did early on, and then I was like, this just gets better and better and better and better. So I want to see it go until it.
I want to see a kangaroo kick happen. I swear to God, I better get that kangaroo kick
so badly. It's like the double clothesline. So badly needed to happen.
But to talk about the main event, Sean says he thinks Cole will turn on MJF.
We've all hoped that for a while.
In fact, I am going to say he said kangaroo kick. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I am going to say that the kangaroo kick is the reason they lose to Aussie Open. And that's going to be the thing that drives Adam Cole over the edge. That this son of a bitch would not give up on this kangaroo kick stupid shit. Cost me our match. And I am Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, there we go. He took it out. He's letting it breathe.
Perfect.
Gotta let it breathe. Come on. Focus. I gotta take the thing they use for the jacket is too rigid. You can't make him do the Adam Cole baby with the jacket on. So you gotta take the jacket off before you can do baby.
Did you just say jacket off?
Yeah, you gotta jack it off.
This podcast makes me so happy sometimes.
Adam Cole, baby!
There we go.
Dear God. Boom.
The fact that they did a hand mold of him doing the 2-finger Adam Cole baby cracks me up.
Yeah, definitely don't want that team to end. It's just fun times all around. I would say it's even better than MJF and Chris Jericho. Now, it's gotten to a point where it's just nothing but funnies. Their segments are hilarious, from going to Outback Steakhouse to the trampoline,
the Chinese restaurant.
Forever, the Chinese restaurant.
Just
But
if you got lightning in a bottle, keep it in the bottle. I would have never said that with WWE. Because they keep it in the bottle so long.
I love when Jeff said, Adam, you're ghostly pale and white. If this was the 80s, Hogan would have snorted yet. Yeah, for sure. Classic line. And yeah, it fucking worked. I think Adam Cole didn't know he was going to say that because Adam Cole was even like kind of smiling and loud chuckling a little. So yeah. MJF is the promo king though. Like fucking great. Between MJF and CM Punk, they are the promo kings of AEW.
See, I just can't wait until I can take this Adam Cole figure and go over to there where I've got a Kenny Omega right there with the AEW championship on him. And take that AEW World Championship off of Kenny Omega and stick it around this waist.
Do you not have an MJF figure?
I do not have an MJF figure. I've seen a few MJF figures, but I've never really liked them, so.
Oh, fair enough. Boom. Yep. Boom.
Yes. Because he'll go there and he'll be called, what did he?
Max.
Mordecai Schmeckel III. And he'll have to carry a dreidel to the ring with him.
Oh, Jesus. Be wearing a kippah. It's going to be all kinds of wrong.
Anyways, then on the main card, you have FTR versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Titles, as long as Cash Wheeler can go there. Knock on wood for that. I think they keep him on FTR. I think the plan was to keep them on FTR, whether it still is to keep them on FTR after the latest events, I don't know. But I think the plans were to keep them on FTR. The Young Bucks don't really need the titles.
Who won their first matchup against each other? Because this is their second matchup, right?
No, this is third.
Or third? Okay.
I think it's third.
So I imagine it's a 1-1, and this is the revenge match.
Something like that. Here, let's do this.
Yeah, I would agree with you too. I think FTR retains, keeps it if Cash Wheeler's allowed in.
Let's see. Young Bucks versus. Gotta find FTR on this list.
Just control find, man.
The way
or command find. You're on Mac. Command F.
Open Apple 4.
Okay, so let's see here. Ring of Honor tag titles. FTR defeated the Young Bucks last year. Battle Royals. In 2020, Young Bucks defeated FTR for the world titles.
In 2020, okay.
Yeah. So they had a match in 2020 that Young Bucks won, a match in 2022 that FTR won. So this would be the third match in the series. I would love to see CMFTR versus the Elite one day, but some people reportedly members of the elite need to grow the fuck up, and make some stupid money. Anyways, that's the problem. So then we've got Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm versus Saraya versus Britt Baker for the women's championship. Like I said before, with Britt Baker in there, I worry that it's going on Britt Baker. I worry
especially
that
after her promo of being in the first All In and yada yada yada. I'm like, oh god, okay, this is going to be a full circle kind of thing.
Yeah, Sean, this is kind of what I was getting to, Sean. I kind of wonder if they won't have the Bucks win it just so that Cash can do whatever he might need to do for this gun charge. You know what I mean? If he needs to do community service or even little jail time or anything like that, they might want to take the belts off of him so that who knows. I'm just going to go out on I'm going to say Saraya walks out of there with the world championship. I don't want it to happen. I want Hikaru Shida to win. But between Britt Baker and Saraya winning, I think the odds are in that side of the coin. Darby Allin and Sting versus AR Fox and Swerve Strickland in a tag team coffin match. If Darby Allin and Sting don't win the coffin match, I riot.
Yeah.
And by riot
for us, Sean.
And by riot, I mean I go, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Please, in case there is riots in your town, let's not incriminate you.
I can virtually assure there will not be riots in this town, and
I agree.
Also, I will have because I'll be live streaming reactions. I will have video evidence alibi, so I'll be fine. Oh, shucky darns. Yes, a coffin drop on a coffin. He did it one time. Who was in the coffin?
Jeff Hardy?
No. Fuck. Go to cage match again. Matches.
Jesus, someone does a
Ethan
Darby
Page.
Allin's coffin drop collection, 120 clips.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be fun.
Ethan Page. He in his first one, it was versus Ethan Page. He did a Fighter Fest 2021. He did a coffin drop onto Ethan Page in the coffin.
Nice.
He also had a coffin match against Andrade El Idolo, and then later one against Brody King. Golden Elite versus Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold. So,
I almost feel like you gotta put over Bullet Club Gold here.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. We've got to make specifically Jay White.
Yes,
Jay White's got to look like a fucking star.
Gotta be bigger
and everything. And so I almost feel like here's the deal: is in the end, this is really setting up for an eventual match: Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. I think in the end we are going to get a Kota Ibushi
on a pole match.
Yeah. I think in the end we're going to get a Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega versus Bullet Club Gold, and maybe a Hangman Page versus somebody match out of it. But it's not as cut and dry as it could be. Like really, you look at that and you go, it could go either way. To get to what Sean just mentioned, the next match. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, and the Best Friends and the Lucha Brothers versus Blackpool Combat Club and 3 TBA. And who could the mystery partners be? This is a Stadium Stampede match, so it could be anyone. Well, we already mentioned
Pride and Powerful.
Are rumored to be coming back. Rumored, like I said, Santana cleared to return from his injury. Ortiz pulled from a show that he was supposed to be doing for, I want to say it was House of Glory. That same weekend, because of an AEW commitment, which implies that he's flying over to be there for All In. So that's an option there. Another option they've kind of played on, which may fit in a little bit here, not directly, but it's one of those things I've been thinking of. They did a whole thing on Collision with Los Ingobernables, La Facción Ingobernables, where they kidnapped Dralistico and Preston Vance because they weren't working out. Rush Andrade and someone else would be a 3 TBA that could play in there. And like we said before, to just stir the pot, one of those TBAs could easily be Edge. It would not be out of character for him to be one of those TBAs if he was actually going to AEW. So stir that pot a little bit. If he shows up at AEW, this is probably the best bet for a surprise show up from him, unless they do a battle royal, a Royal Rumble style battle royal, where he could be a surprise entrance, show up for that. Maybe. But it's going to be interesting. What'll be really interesting is whether we get those TBAs this week at Dynamite, or whether there'll still be a mystery all the way up until the show.
That would be cool.
So we'll find out. Next up, Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. You gotta give it to Ospreay, right? He's the hot hand.
I mean, I imagine, yeah.
It's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you can tell the story of Chris Jericho now that his pride, his narcissism cost him his faction. You know, all of his friends deserted him. You know, now he's got to redeem himself, sort of a thing. But I don't see how you could have Chris Jericho beat the current IWGP United Kingdom champion and arguably best wrestler in the world. I don't know if I'm going to argue that, but somebody will. Importantly, currently, the all-time leader in 5+ star matches from Dave Meltzer. Currently at 27.
27 5-star matches?
5 or more, yes.
Wow.
And I believe number 2 is Kazuchika Okada, who's behind by 2, 24. So.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know how you can't go with Will. Yes, Sammy is still on Jericho's side, but he also said, I'm not going to turn my back on you, but I can't support you unless you make a change. So, you know, he's not 100% on his side. And then the co-main events for the show, the only way you can describe it, I guess. Samoa Joe versus CM Punk for the Real World Championship, and MJF versus Adam Cole for the AEW World Championship, where eventually there will be a unification match. When it happens, who knows? So, does anyone here think Samoa Joe is actually going to beat CM Punk for that title?
No.
It's unanimous. CM Punk is going to win this match. Because the long game is, even Sean doesn't think so. The long game is CM Punk versus MJF, the guy who never lost the belt versus the guy who won it, the belt that he never lost, right? In a unification match, which then plays into Adam Cole, baby, versus MJF. And I unfortunately feel like that's just kind of the sort of thing that's a spoiler, isn't it? Because I don't think they take the belt off MJF just to put it back on him.
Right.
So as much as I would like Adam Cole, baby.
But, I mean, they also might not unify it either, right? That could literally just be the Collision Championship, and that's it. Was there actual and ever announcement that they do plan to unify it by Tony Khan? No, it was just kind of rumored with the rumor dirt sheets and whatnot. So.
There was never an announcement. However, the fact that they didn't debut it as a separate title, the fact that they debuted it as the same title, and the whole gimmick is, I never lost this title. Also, the fact that they do not have we talked about earlier, a hard and fast brand split. Collision is not a separate brand from Dynamite, means the Collision title is still just the AEW title. There has to be a unification match. They could later make a world title for Collision, but again, the only way a separate world title for Collision works is if there is a hard brand split. I can't remember who said it. I want to say it was Bully Ray. If your wrestling show has 2 world champions, you have 0 world champions. There can only be 1 world champion in your wrestling show.
Yeah, but they're kind of doing the brand splits without doing the brand splits.
But there's not a brand split. We talked about it earlier. People can go on either show.
Yeah, but there's certain people who are exclusive completely to Collision as well. So I think going forward...
Who's exclusive completely to Collision?
House of Blood.
House of Black were on Dynamite last week.
Okay.
Oh, he's got you.
No.
That's my point. Is they would have to. The only way they could do a separate title for that. Sean Punk was on Dynamite 4 weeks ago. He specifically said, "I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm a Collision guy," but he was on Dynamite. And so the only way is if they fully split Collision off, and to do that they have to commit to it and announce it, right? But so far, people have gone between the shows. Boom, boom, boom. Here I'm on this show, here I'm on that show. And I don't have a problem with it, but
if you're going to do that, you have to have 1 world title.
If you're going to do that, there has to be 1 world title.
If you're splitting, then you should have just made Collision an ROH product.
Or make it AEW but have a full brand split, and then instead of him debuting the title he never lost, you have him show up and you have him debut a new title. This is the Collision World Championship.
Yeah, because at this point, I guess CM Punk's world title is like the FTW Championship. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, it's a title that was created by someone.
And again,
that is it.
I'm going to point out, this isn't even the first time we've seen this storyline from CM Punk, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Ooh, thanks for the subscribe, Sean.
Wow. Nice.
Love it.
Thank you, Sean. That's awesome.
Muchas gracias.
I don't think he's smooching anything from us, dude. I think he gave us something there, bud.
That was smooches, gracias.
Smooches. Oh, we love the kisses. Beard love. Beard love.
Oh,
beard
love.
love.
Gotta go the beard love.
Beard love. Beard love. Oh. There we go.
JLB doesn't want to do beard love. I see how it is. Okay, there's some beard love.
He thought it was weird the first year we did it.
But then I began to love the beard love.
So, well, again, thanks for the support, Sean. We love the support. Hope you join us for all of our episodes.
Castings of pods.
All of our episodes. We go live Sunday nights and Tuesday nights unless something happens and we don't. And by Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, that actually means Monday morning and Wednesday morning to you. Because time zones.
Because we're in America.
Yeah. So anyways, that is the week in professional wrestling for this week. A lot of fun stuff happened, a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of things up in the air. Edge up in the air. Cash Wheeler up in the air.
I didn't see either of those segments. Like, were there cables?
Well, no. I mean, he had to fly after the show, right? So he's up in the air.
Gotcha.
Cash Wheeler had to fly from Florida, where he was in court, to wherever the fuck Collision was. He was up in the air.
Well, I don't think he was even on Collision because, like I mentioned, I don't think they were actually there. They just kind of promoted the FTR thing that happened for Dynamite, but I don't remember seeing FTR actually at Collision.
Hey, boss man, I got court on Thursday.
I will point out. I think I sent to you guys the video footage of Cash Wheeler in court when his lawyer is entering his plea and asking for the $2,500 bond and all of that stuff. I have never seen a more clear "I fucked around and found out" face than on Cash Wheeler's face as he's standing there next to.
Please don't cost me millions of dollars. Please don't cost me millions of dollars.
Man, I made a horrible mistake.
I hope Tony Khan doesn't fire me.
Correct. Very much so.
But
hey, Tony.
So
you know,
but this also. But I hope this because that incident did happen a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I do hope he at least mentioned something to Tony when it initially happened.
Yeah.
That
my expectation is that here's the deal: he may not have brought it up to Tony when it initially happened because in his mind it was
outside of
it was just driving along and I got angry and this dude cut me off, so I showed it wasn't a big deal until he found out that the guy turned him in,
right?
And now there's a warrant out for him, but the warrant don't send me back to WWE, man. They made me do a dance after they put Ben Gay in my shorts. They had an itchy dance.
Itchy powder,
It sucks. But so it was like June 30th or whatever it was, July 30th, excuse me, when the warrant got issued. At that point, I hope Cash Wheeler immediately was on the phone to Tony Khan saying, "Hey, I want you to know, apparently there's a warrant out for me due to a road rage incident. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I'm going to have to deal with this. All of that stuff. I don't want this." At which point, if that's the case, then all of the last month of wrestling storylines were after Tony Khan may have already known about it, at which point the plans are at least being done with that in mind. So
to our American audience, I just want to remind you, brandishing a firearm, always assault.
No bueno. Yeah. Right.
Do not brandish unless your life is in danger.
Mm-hmm. And even then, it's not don't brandish.
Yes.
Don't be like, I got a gun. I might shoot you with it,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
If your life is in danger,
you pull it out,
and
you
shoot
it.
That's
right.
That is it.
Do not show the gun until you are ready to use the gun.
Because any threat of violence is assault.
Mm-hmm. Even if someone is already threatening you.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, that is 2 assault cases instead of just 1.
So. Yeah,
to our British viewer, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man.
And to our Canadian co-host,
don't have to worry about it.
Don't worry about it, bud.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, unless you move. But in Montreal, don't worry about it.
Well, there's a lot of murderings happening and all that, so there's people who do have guns here and whatnot. Yes. But it's not as crazy as
I'm sure there is in Britain people who have guns too.
For sure.
At the end of the day, you don't.
For sure.
That's what I figured. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I highly doubt anybody pulls one out and shows it to you.
But anyways, on that note, I think we've covered everything to really talk about for this week.
Well, I mean,
talk
Lacey
a little
Evans.
bit about. Yeah, Lacey Evans is no longer with WWE. She now is officially a coffee shop owner in her hometown. She opened a little cafe.
Charitable one.
Whether she is also going to wrestle someplace, we don't know. She may consider her wrestling career over.
She's made many interviews about missing the family time.
Mm-hmm.
And she does have, 3 kids? Is that right? 2?
2 or 3.
2 or 3 kids. So.
Let's see what Wikipedia says. 2 kids. And that's, I mean, I hate to use AEW as because I don't want to be that guy who's always like, oh, this person left WWE, they might be going to AEW. It is a viable option for her. She is talented enough that she could probably be fine in another promotion. I will point out that family is the number one reason Jade Cargill turned down WWE and chose AEW instead, is because WWE's mentality is we're your family. Right. And AEW's mentality apparently is a lot more bring your family with you. And so, Jade Cargill was fortunate enough to be in a position where she didn't have to. We've talked about this before. She didn't have to make the decision based on money. She could make the decision based on what she wanted to do and what she felt was best for her and her family. Because her husband was a highly, highly, highly paid baseball player who made a lot of money, and they could afford to do whatever they wanted to do for her, right? Oh. Lacey Evans could be in a similar situation where she's like, hey, I've made my money with WWE for a while. Now I can go someplace where I can take care of my family and have a less strenuous wrestling schedule, bring my family with me, and they're welcomed backstage with open arms and all of that. So who knows, there's a lot of companies for Lacey to go to. She could go to Impact, be fine there. She could go to Ring of Honor, which is sort of AEW, or she could go to AEW. I don't anticipate we'll see her do anything like a New Japan, Stardom, sort of a thing, just because I suspicion she would like to stay domestic here in the U.S. since she apparently resides in South Carolina. I don't see her necessarily wanting to go out of the country for anything, but
especially if she wants to, be with family and be close with family.
Yeah.
Chances are she'll stick to something.
I want to be closer to family. I'm gonna fuck off to Japan.
Unless I don't know, you randomly decide you want to move to Japan.
I mean,
with everyone, sure.
If Japan paid well enough, she bring her husband and 2 kids to Japan. But I just doubt that Japan would give her enough for that to uproot her whole family for it.
Right.
When she probably has an option here in the States if she wants to continue wrestling, which she might just be done,
Right.
She might have said, hey, I made a good run from it, I made some good money, but now I'm gonna operate my coffee shop and just deal with that. Whatever she does, I wish her the best.
Absolutely.
The main roster was not kind to her, but her Sassy Southern Belle gimmick in NXT was really well done. So,
well, it was still good on the main roster too, but
the feud with Becky is what hurt her the worst.
Well, they just slowly crept away from the Sassy Southern Belle gimmick.
Yes.
Every couple of weeks, it was eroded a little bit more until she was eventually just a generic wrestler. And then they tried to do one thing with her, and then they tried to do another thing with her, and then they tried to do another thing with her, and in the end, just like whatever. But I would not hate seeing her in AEW as long as they gave her a decent gimmick. That being said, I also am not clamoring for her to be in AEW because AEW does already have a lot of women who could really be getting more airtime already.
That's it. And poor Lacey Evans might get lost in the shuffle too after a month because Tony Khan can't book the women's division. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because he only gives 1 match per show to women. How am I supposed to work 30 women and when I only have 1 match? I'm supposed to have Battle Royal every week.
Well, I mean, even that 1 match doesn't necessarily have a great storyline attached to it. So if you at least had that going for you.
Are you telling me the Outcast storyline isn't good?
It's not great.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that's what you're saying.
Yep.
Otherwise, I mean, we could talk about All Out, but there's 2 matches announced for it, so it's not like we could talk much about All Out. Hopefully we'll get more matches announced this week for it, or at least have some ideas, like winner of this match goes into All Out versus somebody, or something like that. But right now we have Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin and Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I do hope that okay, so I hope 2 things. I hope All In becomes a yearly tradition again, right? All In really could be AEW's WrestleMania, right? Their biggest show of the year. They book it someplace. But I think they need to make sure there's a little bit more than a week between All In and another pay-per-view.
Sure.
It'd be a little easier to swallow if they weren't $50 a pop to watch on pay-per-view.
Right.
But we don't have a streaming service yet, so yeah. Please and thanks, UK Biden.
And you're certainly adding more fuel to the fire with Warner Brothers wanting you to do a pay-per-view a month. They see that you can do 2 in a week's time from each other. Like
Warner Bros. Be like, hey, you should do a pay per view every week.
Every week, then do it.
Every Sunday should be a pay per view.
Like, not only are we WCW, now we're old school TNA. What is this?
Weekly pay per views, baby.
Weekly pay per views.
Dumb. No, it's just dumb. So, have either of you guys seen Glass Onion yet?
Yeah.
My favorite line from Glass Onion. When they say it's so dumb, it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb. Anyways,
first one was still better.
I don't know. I liked it. It was very different.
Different. It was
the only thing I wish. I kind of wish Ryan Johnson had gone with his original concept of giving Benoit Blanc a different accent on each movie and just not talking about it. I would have laughed so hard if he came out with a different accent in the second movie. And nobody says anything. There's nobody.
They just go along with it.
Anyways, but on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the wrestling booking unit. Thanks to anyone who joined us, especially Sean G90 from the UK, who will be at All In.
It's going to be a good time.
Scrutinize the TV and try to spot you in the crowd, my friend.
Smarks will be looking extra close.
But thanks for joining us. Thanks for the sub, man. If you want to support us more, make sure to share this with your friends. Let them know about it. The replays are going to be up on Twitch for a week. Then they get posted at some point to YouTube, so you can always watch them. There's going to be replays there. But the subscriptions will notify you. You get to watch with no commercials, which is also awesome. So you don't miss out on any of the lovely talking. And we will be back Tuesday night with our game night. So that would be Wednesday morning for you, where we have fun and we challenge each other with trivia and fantasy booking and all of that stuff. WBU. But on that note, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can also support us by hitting up our merch store, sending us bits, sending us tips. All of that's going to be in the doobly-doos and all that stuff. You can follow me on the social medias at Raw and Order WBU. That's Twitch. That's TikTok. That's Threads. That's X. That's YouTube. That's where you find me. You can follow DA Fabe at
Vincent K. Fabe right there on
and
X.
JLB at.
You're on X? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's why I'm so tired right now.
It's hitting that Molly pretty hard, man.
There you go. You can follow me at twitch.tv/JLBTLC25, where I play AEW Forever sometimes. Now I'm playing a little of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's kind of a Dead by Daylight scenario, though, so it's not really my game. But yeah, you can feel free to follow me there. And then JLB420 on X/Twitter/ will not be a thing for much longer because Elon's weird.
Yeah. What a brilliant idea. Let's remove the ability to block people. That's smart. Yeah, but we will be back in just a couple days. So thanks to everyone who joined us or everyone watching the replay. We will be back in a few days. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Thanks, Sean.